Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, everybody. My name is Frank Kamara with the Consortium for Public Education, and I'm being joined by a great mentor and a good friend of mine, Dr. DeFranco, Professor and Vice Chair of Education, Department of Pharmacology and Chemical Biology at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, and also a councilman of Churchill Borough. Thank you for joining me today, Dr. DeFranco.
Well, thank you, Frank, for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about what you do and how did you get into it?
As a professor, most people think that I only teach, and I do teach, but most of my time is spent doing research. I have a lab of 6 or 8 people. I have funding from NIH to do research, and that's basically, as a university professor, no matter whether it's science or humanities, English, or whatever, you're expected to do scholarly work, whether it's writing books, chapters. For me, it's doing lab research. So I enjoy that a lot because I get to do research and I get to teach. So I have the best of both worlds, which is what I love.
What are some of the things that prepared you for this career?
It's interesting in terms of the research. I mean, ever since I would say even middle school or before, I was always interested in science and math too, but I was much better at science than at math. But those are things I just always enjoyed. And so I kept, taking extra classes when I could. I joined organizations when I could. And in fact, I was part of a group like the BASM when I was in middle school. It's run by, because I grew up in Connecticut, so it was run by Yale University. And we took extra class. They had mentors, but they also had instructors that would give us like science and math additional work. And it was for all the inner city kids that wanted to do that in New Haven, where I grew up. So I think ever since then, it was just a passion of mine to understand science and follow science. And so that's what I'm doing. And I just, like I said, I started really young and I love it and I'm still doing it.
So what does a typical day looks like in your field?
In my field? So it really depends, right? So if I'm teaching, then I would have to plan my lecture or my exercise and then meet with students, say, before, after class. If I'm doing a research day, then what I will typically do is come in and, talk to people in my lab, analyze the data they generated, talk about new experiments, read the literature to find out what other people are doing, talk to colleagues, collaborators. So it's a difficult field because it's very unstructured. Unless I'm teaching and I know I have a class, say from 9 to 10, I come in and it's like, okay, what do I do now? I don't really have a structure. Of course, students want to meet with me, but I kind of like that. But it definitely is a challenge to not have a structured day when I'm doing research. But I manage to fill the time.
Thank you for that. So what are some things students that are interested in this field should be doing right now? What should they be focusing on if they're interested in this field?
I think the one thing that really makes it very possible to do this career now, it's very competitive, of course, like a lot of fields in science, but you have to have both kind of knowledge base, and so getting good foundations in math and science, which is what I was fortunate to get, but also to kind of follow a passion. I have friends who I grew up with who were in middle school and high school who loved, say, chemistry more than I did. So they just kept following that and following that. We'd read stuff from the library. They would take opportunities that came along to join a club or something like that. Probably one of the funnest thing I did in high school, for example, was join a science club. Sound like a bunch kind of geeky, but I did that. And I took a field trip to this kind of national lab where they had like nuclear reactors and stuff. And even though it wasn't anything I wanted to do, it was just so fun to see kind of what a scientist does, and how much effort goes into even the simplest bit of science, whether or not you're doing environmental science or chemistry or biology or medical kind of stuff. It's always a very interesting and kind of fascinating field because it's ever changing. I would say that's something that for sure, it's always ever changing. So get a good foundation, that's key. Get a very good foundation, and then find the part of science that you love the best and just look for opportunities to kind of do more than just classwork if you can.
So what would you say are some extracurricular activities that will be helpful in order to be in this career?
Yeah, I think I have to say Pitt and UPMC is very good about offering different programs, and even the state of Pennsylvania has a governor's school or things like that. There's opportunities for high school kids through Pitt, from UPMC, the Hillman Cancer Center. Maybe not this summer, but it'll probably certainly come back next year. And those are great opportunities. And even if you don't get a chance to do a lot of hands-on stuff, you get to see what do scientists do? What does a graduate student do? Someone in training? What does a professor do? What does a technician do? So you really get a chance to see the nuts and bolts of doing science. And those are opportunities that I think are available certainly in high school. So any chance you get to kind of do that, I would definitely encourage people to do that, for sure.
What is one piece of advice you think is important for people aspiring to be in this career?
One thing I was taught very early on, and I think it's helped me a lot, is to really get a good foundation, because you just don't know, in this field, what you're going to be able to do, what new things come up that excite you. And if you have a good foundation in, say, basic chemistry, for me, for what I do, it's basic chemistry and a little bit of math, but for me it was mostly basic chemistry, basic biology. I could move from studying development, brain development, to brain injury, to prostate cancer, to reproduction. So I've done so many different things, but without the foundation in basic biology, basic chemistry, it wouldn't have been possible to be so flexible. So when you're doing basic work, it seems kind of boring sometimes. It's very basic. I want to get to the exciting stuff. But it's like you have to learn to walk before you can run. It's kind of a good analogy, right? And any athlete, right, trains, right? They go to the gym, they work out, they run. And then on the football field or basketball court, then they excel. But it comes from hard work and basic, boring training. So it's the same thing in science, right? Get a good foundation in all your courses, middle school, high school, college, and the basic courses. And then when the exciting stuff comes, you'll be better able to kind of use those basic skills to really follow the really new and exciting stuff.
Thank you so much, Dr. DeFranco, for your thoughts and experience.
Thank you very much, Frank. It's been a pleasure, and I enjoy so much being part of the middle school mentor program.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!